Your boy put mayonnaise in his coffee. I know that's a wild way to open up the podcast, but it literally just happened, and I'm stunned I did that. Was it good? No. It was really weird. It was chunky and oily on top of the coffee flavor. I'll probably never do it again. If you're asking yourself, why the fuck would you put mayonnaise in your coffee? Let me preface this by saying, I'm a weird dude who puts mayonnaise on his breakfast sandwiches from time to time. I have a nostalgic connection to that. I don't do it all the time, but today was one of those days. I put mayonnaise on my breakfast sandwich. I put the knife resting on top of a cup. Now, I had another knife that I just stirred my coffee with beforehand when I added the sugar and shit. I forgot which one was which. I was distracted. I was listening to some of my homies' new music that dropped today. I turn around, I grab the knife that I think is the one that I just used to stir around my fucking sugar and stuff. I add the milk, and then apparently I also added some mayonnaise. Nasty crap. Nasty crap. As I said, I probably won't do it again. But I will never say never, because maybe someday I want to gross out a friend just for the shits and giggles. But yeah, this whole week has just been wild. I'm surprised I made it this far. Whole week has been just me waking up at like 5 o'clock in the morning to go to work, come back at 3, catch up on everything I couldn't do during the day, and then stay up extra late to watch my basketball team lose. Because we were doing good, and now we are doing the opposite of good. We are probably the worst in the league right now. I'm not happy about it, but such is life. I always got the Celtics to fall back on. But on this week-long tour of long-ass fucking days, it started back last Friday. I woke up very early. My wife had to go to work. When she wakes up, I sure as shit wake up. So I was up. I was like, fuck it. We're going to watch a movie. We're going to record the podcast. I'm going to go for a walk. Get some sort of physical activity out there. And then I went to a hip-hop show to check out The Spot, the place that my show on the 19th is going to be at. Now, this event, time management was not in the mind of the person who is running this particular night. And it ended up going until about 1 o'clock in the morning. To which, fun, I had to be at work for 7:30 the next day. So I am struggling getting through this fucking show. And then I finally make it home. I go to bed like 1:45, apologizing to my wife. Sorry, it wasn't my fault, it wasn't the performer's fault. Time management was just not a thing that existed tonight. Work by myself on a Saturday. Holiday Saturday by myself. Leave work. Go to a metal show that happened at the Bungalow in Manchester. The Bungalow's back and I'm fucking here for it. I get home also very late and remember I have to be at work again 7 o'clock in the morning. I have no sleep in my system. I'm running on fucking fumes. I get through that whole day thinking I'm gonna go home. Not surprise, bitch. We're visiting the in-laws. Everybody needs a haircut. Everybody wants to catch up with everybody. Everybody wants to make plans for the holidays. I am struggling. I fall asleep on the couch with the dogs for a bit. Monday comes, okay, 7 o'clock. I have no plans after work. Another 7 o'clock day. No plans after work. This is great. Wednesday I have off. I finally get to catch up on some rest, but I feel like shit. And then yesterday, for the first time in forever, I close at midnight. And I'll be honest, fam, I fell asleep in the bathroom. I fell asleep in the bathroom for like 20 minutes. But today, I got to sleep a little bit. My brain's still in a fog. I put mayonnaise in my coffee. My head hurts. I am very aloof. But whether I feel great or feel shitty, whether I'm sleepy or alert, the show must go on. So everybody else, get your mayonnaise coffee. Get your breakfast sandwiches. Grab a beer if you're watching this at night or in the morning. I don't know. I'm not your mom. Let's get ready to kill some fucking time. Lots of music to talk about today. So let's fucking go.
What you doing, son? Nothing. Just chilling. Killing. True.
Through your mind when the robbers showed up?
I just don't eat the eggs here. I did things to them.
As Hero the MC always says on my behalf, fuck dem eggs. Now I have a very weird relationship with things like Facebook memories or TikTok memories, all those things. Because a lot of the time it'll be like, hey, remember that cringy ass post that you posted 10 years ago? That don't align with your views at all right now, and you'd beat the ass of somebody if they said that today? Well, here you go. But sometimes you find gold. It'll be like, hey, 7 years ago, you posted about this awesome demo EP from this hardcore band that was around. They're not around anymore, though. And you listen to it again, you go, God damn, do I miss them. This fucking slapped. Well, that's the catalyst for today. I was scrolling through old memories and old files on my computer, and I found all these old files of songs and bands that I loved back in the day that aren't around anymore. Some of them a couple years ago, some of them a long time ago. And I thought, you know what, let's fucking go down memory lane. I'll play clips, we'll talk about it before we play more clips from bands and talk about them. Just a lot of clips and bands today, honestly. So if you're listening to this on Spotify or YouTube or wherever, let me know. Do you miss any bands? Do you miss any of these bands? Which bands do you miss? The tail end of me being a part of Just Plain Filthy and us doing shows and podcasts and all that stuff and being real prevalent on the internet, there was a band that came to us once, and they were called Player Hater. They were out of New Jersey. They were what I thought the next step in unsigned hardcore would be. They had it all. They had a unique sound. They had that aggression. They were good at promoting themselves. They had people that came out to shows that really fucked with them. And then they dropped off the face of the earth. Nobody hit me up anymore. There was no more music. There was no more shows. I don't even know if they went their separate ways and formed other bands. And that sucks. Luckily, though, I still have their demo on my phone and on my laptop. This band fucking ruled. The demo for Player Hater was so heavily played that I would end up at work just drumming on everything, essentially the entirety of their demo EP. From start to finish. Just all the songs, just drumming on trash cans, drumming on my leg, drumming on carts, drumming on the hanger bin, drumming on the side of the escalator, all that shit. It was so good. Fuck it. Here's a good chunk of their song Downfall, just so you get an idea of what I was into.
I hate you, I don't even know you, and I hate your guts. I hope all the bad things in life happen to you and nobody else but you. Ow!
Destruction! I just want it to end! I see myself drifting
It definitely plagued my mind, though. I was like surprised when a song that wasn't these songs came on my phone. If there's one thing that I am a sucker for, it is hardcore music with that fucking rap aggression and style. I guess I'm blending my two worlds essentially, but if it's done right, it's incredible. And if it's done anything less than good, it is dog shit. It sounds like try-hard bullshit. This band was not that. In fact, almost every song I heard from them, even their next album that they put out, was insanely good. I miss those dudes. Now, I started booking shows back in 2008 in central, southern New Hampshire, and sometimes even Haverhill and Lowell, Massachusetts. And during that time, I found so many bands that were so inspirational to me and just were fucking heavy hitters and bands that I would see all the time. Unfortunately, some of these bands that I grew to love and become friends with, I never got to book until one day they made a tour where they were saying goodbye. This was their farewell tour. They were not going to be a band after that. And I got to book their last ever New Hampshire stop. The band was called Anomia, and they were a force to be reckoned with. And actually, if you look at the flyer for their last New Hampshire show, there's only 3 bands on that bill that are still doing it today, which is crazy, because I'm going through these and I'm like, I miss them, I miss them, I miss them, I miss them, but I can't talk about all of them because we will be here literally all fucking day. But literally, just listen to this lineup. May 11th, 2012 at Rocco's Bar and Grill in Manchester, New Hampshire, it was The Summoned, still going, Pathogenic, still going, Drive-By Bukkake, still going, and then Suffer Destroyer, not a band, Voices of Anguish, not a band. I remember Chasing Ghosts was on that, they're not a band anymore. I remember Widow's Sunday was on that, they're not a band anymore. And Anomia was the headliner, and they are not a band anymore. Good times. Good fucking times. The thing I loved most about Anomia wasn't just the fact that everybody was just a virtuoso on their instrument, but how Jace DiNardo, the vocalist of that band, was the most unhinged dude. He would spend the entire set with his dreads over his face, running back and forth on the floor in front of the stage, getting in people's face, holding his head close to theirs, and doing the most insane vocals I've ever heard. Every time he opened his mouth, it was like he was ripping out his vocal cords from his throat. And I don't understand how he did that and had that sound without irreparable damage. Or maybe he did, dude. Maybe he did, brother, and that's why they're no longer a band anymore, dude. For those who might not understand what I was getting at, here is a clip of their song Making Mountains. Besides Anomia, I know that there's a handful of bands that people in this scene are going to throw in there if asked this question. There's a lot of people who are going to say 2 very specific names. They're going to say Ballast and Spies Like Us. And while Ballast was insane, the popularity they had in the local metal scene was crazy. I've never seen a show of theirs that had less than 50 people in attendance and didn't have a stacked roster of bands on the show. Unfortunately, like 2 of the members of that band are complete assholes. I wouldn't want to deal with that shit anymore. There's enough egomaniacs and fucking crazy people in this scene currently, and it's been a great couple years without that bullshit. So we can take Devastator and Mothership and there's no way out. There's no way out. And we can try to leave that behind us. I would love to see them because they brought out a lot of people to all of their shows. And god damn it, we need more people to attend shows nowadays. But no. Other band would be Spies Like Us, and they do occasional comeback shows. Everybody's busy with their own thing. They got Sleep Spirit, which is doing rather good. Joe Sambo's doing reggae. He's doing really, really good. Other band members are thriving, I hope. I don't remember a lot of their names. Those were the two big ones at that time, but if you go away from the metal scene of that time, there was one band who also had a really big cult following, who also brought a shit ton of other people in, and they seemingly dropped off the face of the earth, and even the people who fucked with them heavy in their time don't even bring them up anymore. I'm talking about the Yellow Team. Now, I was friends with everyone. Josiah, Ben, Mark, Devin, Chris, even Caitlin. They were fucking awesome. I've went to so many of their shows. I've played a couple shows with them. I love them to bits. What I would not give to have them come back. My favorite things involving the Yellow Team is they played a Battle of the Bands at my high school, and I was friends with everybody at that time, so like it wasn't weird. But I hit them up and I was like, hey, when you do your Blink-182 cover, can I hop on stage and sing that? And they said, sure dude, come on over. They did some backup vocals, I did the main vocals, and the funniest thing was there was a rumor going around at that time where one of the nerdiest kids in my grade finally got laid. And I scoped them out as the beginning of the guitars are going da-na-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na-na-na, and I'm scoping them out. I locked eyes like a fucking eagle. And when the time came, I pointed at him and his girlfriend and I said, did you see? He fucked her! And they got embarrassed, but nobody else noticed what I was doing. I became an enemy for that night, but it was glorious. I got to jump on stage and do vocals for an entire song with one of my favorite bands at the time, the Yellow Team. The fact that so many times they would just have shows and a horde of people would come out wearing yellow shirts and bring yellow balloons, and it would just be a party at every venue that they did, whether it was a birthday party, whether it was an outside show in front of a market basket for a music video, whether it was at Ground Zero or at a high school, whether my high school or the Concord High School that I booked at all the time. Dude, there was never a dull moment with that band, and we need bands to bring back fun. Just as much as we need bands to bring back people, we need to create some fucking moments. That's exactly what they did. In some kind of weird way, I'm kind of glad that the Yellow Team stopped when they did. Because the last 10 years, there hasn't really been a pop-punk scene in New England, as far as I know. So, like, what I'm thinking is, like, where would they go? If they continued on and didn't break up when they did, would they grow stale? Or would they still be pumping out hits, but with no place or people to play with? I don't think they would grow stale. I think this would be one of those bands that could figure out how to make themselves unique still and trade out members if things went down like they did before with they got rid of Mark and they brought in Chris, and then Mark came back and their bassist left and the new bassist came in. They were always really good at reinventing themselves. So I feel like they would still grow and evolve, but as long as they stuck with the pop punk thing, I don't exactly know where they would go. That's just me being honest, but it's also just a really good way of me branching in to the next point that I want to talk about. The podcast topic of the week. What is a band that you feel got better with every release as time went on? Now you might be sitting there thinking, that's easy as fuck to say. Bands should get better as time goes on. Yeah, they should. But how many times have you listened to an album and went, man, this is not as good as that last album, or nothing will compare to their first album? Case in point. What is a band that, yeah, while the first couple albums were good, the albums got progressively better as time went on? And I asked Facebook, I asked TikTok, I asked Threads, I think I asked Blue Sky. I didn't get too many things back from them. I did get some. So let's go through them, and we can talk about the ones that I do know, if I do know any of them. El Caballero 34 on Threads says Mastodon. And while I can see why other people would say that, me personally, after like March of the Fire Ants and stuff like that, I kept trying to come back to them every album, and just progressively I cared less and less and less about those albums. Was a big fan of Mastodon at one point, and they've never been bad. But I personally think they're one of those bands that kind of decreased throughout the years. But that's all. It's also because that's not really my style of metal. So the more that they embraced it and found their own, the more I kind of just drifted away from them. But solid fucking band. Hollard73 says Death. I'm not gonna say yes or no to that. I don't think I've ever listened to a song by Death. I've seen the logo a bunch. I know that they're culturally very important. I've just never listened to them. Maybe after this podcast, that changes. Or maybe I forget. Or maybe not, dude. Who knows? Then we also got Ricardo, who says Lord Belial and Rotting Christ. Those are all parts of these bands similar to Death, where I'm just not a fan of that kind of metal. Very much outside of my wheelhouse. They also went on to say Meshuggah as well. I don't know many Meshuggah songs. The ones that I do know are from like 20 years ago. So I feel very unqualified to answer any of these. But yeah, solid choices. I know that they're all big bands who have been doing it for a while. So if that's true, that's fucking crazy to constantly outdo yourself, especially Meshuggah. If they are better now than they were when I was listening to them, insane. I Love Blood says The Black Dahlia Murder. And for the most part, I can agree. I can agree with this. It's not as linear as you would think. I thought Unhallowed was not terrible. Very good for what it was. Miasma, though, Miasma was where I was like, this is peak, and remained there for a long fucking time. So it went like good, great, and then dropped down and was like, okay, couple tracks, progressively getting better. And then this newest album where Brian took over is just like Unhallowed if Unhallowed was written a little better. So they got bad to good with Miasma, then went right back down to the bottom and worked themselves up. So I would say, in two different instances, the Black Dahlia murder is true. If that makes sense. Next up, my boy Michael Sativa says, snuffed on sight. And am I wrong? I thought this band like just started. Is this like some sort of joke? Like, haha, they put out 2 albums and like, it got better the next album. Oh, I'm gonna have to do some live fucking research over here. Hold on. Snuffed on sight. There we go. How long have they been doing shit? They've only been doing shit since 2021, you dumb bitch. They have fucking 1 full-length album. Don't pull that shit with me. I do enjoy the band though, but like, that's not an answer. Mike, fuck off. And Jaden voted for like what seems to be the only band that he knows, which is Deftones. I don't feel qualified enough to talk about Deftones because I know like 6 songs in total, but I will say majority of those songs are off White Pony, and I've listened to like 2 songs from their new stuff, and I much prefer everything from White Pony. So I don't agree, but I can tell why you would like it, because you said when they stripped away the nu metal label, so I think you like it when it sounds more hard rock than nu metal, and I, being a big nu metal fan, prefer the opposite. So I'm sorry, Jaden, I do not agree, but that does not make you not valid. But what it does mean is you should find more bands. Now, for myself, I have been in a very big hardcore punk mood for the last year or so. I've always liked it, but it's been like a real focal point with my music tastes lately. That being said, I went back and I checked out a bunch of bands that I used to love, and a lot of them still hold up. Bands like Incendiary, which is my choice. I've always loved 1,000 Mile Stare. I'm currently wearing a sweatshirt for 1,000 Mile Stare. Love this band to death. And while they got better overall throughout the years, once they got to 1,000 Mile Stare, I feel like things went less complete, but progressively got heavier, which in some cases, that works. Now, while the songs might not be as consistent, this last record was just stank face central. I wanted to throw punches at the fucking world the entire time I was listening to this new record, and I've been listening to it over and over and over again. So I think while they might have plateaued and went just flatline across the board since 2013, I think they've progressively climbed the mountain of heaviness, which, you know, if you're not going to get better one way, you get better the other way, which really helps them climb the whole progress and get better each and every album. And you listen to that newest album and tell me you don't feel something when he's singing, "Every window deserves a brick," just over and over again. You're like, man, I should really fucking destroy private property. That sounds like a splendid idea. Earlier, we talked about older music, bands that are no longer around and we wish were. But now we talk about the polar opposite of that, bands that are thriving right now and releasing new music. There's a handful of new music that I've listened to this week as far as heavy music goes, and I got some thoughts. So let's fucking go one by one, and we talk about them in great detail, and I'll play you a snippet so you can decide if you fuck with it and you want to check it out or not. After 21 years, Blood for Blood has come back. Now, don't get me wrong, I love this band with my whole heart. Aggressive, relatable, and very important to the scene. I'm happy that they're back. They put out new music like a couple days ago. But the thing is, and this is where I'm going to probably get some flack for it, this song is what happens when you release the same song over and over and over again, but the quality gets a tad worse each time. See, this, if they didn't release like 10 other songs like this before, and this came out, this would be very good. But at this point in time, I'm just kind of tired of the whole, I've been pissed on by society. Everyone turned their back on me, and I'm just trying to get by. Fuck you, kind of thing that Blood for Blood does. Because it's becoming like AC/DC, where this has all just been one big album for 40 years. And had the lyric content been a tiny bit different, or had the new guy doing vocals with them from 100 Demons, which is fucking awesome that he's a part of this, added something different than the standard Blood for Blood stuff, I would be like all gung-ho. I'd be singing their praises. But this just sounds like a song that I've heard over and over and over again. And it's just slightly less impactful than all of the other ones that are just like this. I love them, I do, but I gotta give this like a C. Sorry, boys. You're gonna have to kill me. Gets a C. Old Sulfur is back with another single drop leading up to their album drop in January. This band, since their debut, have managed to do something that no other band has really done. Well, I don't say not every band. Very few bands have done. And that is do deathcore-like metal with occasional clean singing that I do not fucking hate. I swear, 99% of heavy bands that have clean singing, I cannot get behind it at all. But Ricky Hoover and the boys just deliver to such a high fucking mark that even if I wouldn't like it, I would just be like, gotta respect it, this fucking slaps. And Vast Eternal does just that. It slaps. Though there is no clean vocals in this performance, everything is masterful. The guitar work is just fast and shredding and just very intricate. The drumming consistent all over the fucking place. It is what Lorna Shore was trying to be, but they ended up being just Lord of the Rings metal, essentially. And I say that as somebody who loves Lord of the Rings, but not everything needs to be an 8 or 9 minute fucking epic. This song is just barely over 6 minutes, which is longer than most of the metal that I enjoy. But there is not a single thing in this song that I would give less than an A to. Everything is layered perfectly. The structure is incredible. The vocal performance is good. Instrumentally, they deliver. Every time it's about to slow down, it changes enough that when it comes back around, you're not bored. It doesn't drone on at all. Vast Eternal slaps from point A to point B. And that is why I'm giving it the very coveted spot of an A+. Definitely go out of your way and check this song out. The actual album will be dropping in January, and I just hope every song hits just as this did. They Preach, We Burn is the newest track by hardcore band Waves Like Walls. Now, Waves Like Walls is a hardcore band out of Germany. And recently, while looking for some new music on social media, I was recommended this band, and I did not know anything about them. The name sounded slightly familiar, and you would think I would know about them because I'm just all over the place, mostly unsigned hardcore, and they've been around for over a decade. But no, I have not heard of them, so I checked them out immediately and was blown away by their sound. Very much driven sound like Bury Your Dead or The Ghost Inside, slight terror edge in there. Checked out this new one, and goddamn did it fucking deliver. It was mixed and mastered by the guy who does all the stuff for Knocked Loose and Stick to Your Guns and Currents. It even features a performance by Dead Like Juliet, which is an Italy hardcore band. And just this is such a worldly flavor of hardcore, and I fuck with it. I might not be able to go to any of your shows, but I'm definitely going to keep an eye out for new music. This song goes hard. It is not too long, which I appreciate. And it doesn't drone out in any point in time. It's just like stank face at the start, stank face at the end, crime committing music right in the middle of all that shit. If I were to give it a grade, I would say a B+. While it is good, it's nothing spectacular. There's nothing that sets this band apart from other bands of that genre. They just do what they do very, very well. If there was some cool, like, hardcore style guitar solo, or just a really cool, like, mosh call, gang vocals kind of spot, I could probably see myself giving it, like, an A or something like that. But from what I was given, I enjoyed it thoroughly. It just, nothing knocked my socks off. But I highly recommend anybody who likes this kind of music to check them out. Waves Like Walls gets a B+. Now, over the last couple episodes, I've talked about things I'm working on, things I have coming up, upcoming shows, all of that. I talked about my 2 new songs that I'm working on for the next year. I talked about my holiday show that's coming up next weekend, December 19th at The Spot, a whole hip-hop Christmas party. We've already talked about that. If you don't know, it's free, it's all ages, I'm playing it, and 5 other of my friends of the scene are playing on it. It's gonna be a great time. Come on out. There'll be karaoke too. But on top of those things, there's one thing that I wanted to say, and I wanted to let you guys know about, and it's almost 10 years in the making because I haven't done it in so long. But I'm booking a show! I'm booking a show once again. Bungalow Bar and Grill is back, baby. And when that comes back, you know I have to dip my fingers back into the booking pool. I have a half hardcore, half hip-hop show that I'm in the making of doing, and all the hip-hop spots have been confirmed. Messages have been sent out, feelers have been sent out, and people are talking to me about the confirmation of the bands, and right now it seems like it's going to be a big old party. And while I don't have any of the names for the bands to confirm for you right at this moment, it'll probably happen like a couple hours after this podcast goes out. I will let you know that some of the names that are confirmed for the hip-hop side of things are myself, Kill Murray, Cryptic, Ace Dawn, and Animatronic the Abolisher. Yes, the guitarist for Chasms, the rapper of the scene who's been killing it for like 15, 20 years almost. Yes, he is going to be on that show, and hopefully some of his friends are going to be there too. I'm not going to give too much info away, but right now it's looking really cool, and as time goes on, we'll have more things to throw out there for you, more stuff that we can confirm and let you know are going to happen to people who are going to be there. But you know, it's been like 8 years since I've booked a show. It feels good to get back into it. It feels good to find a way of combining both my scene, the hip-hop scene, and the scene that made me, the hardcore and metal scene. So February 20th at the Bungalow Bar and Grill, keep your eyes out for a hip-hop and hardcore extravaganza. That's all I got for you today. Definitely follow me on all my social medias at KillMurray603. Thank you for spending all this time with me. It's been a lot of music talk, and I will see you next week for some year-end fun.